sunshine, places and spaces? Or is it the great rivers and beautiful lakes? Water flows and things that grow? It could be the food. It's grown right here, you know. What about the artistic and cultural experiences that can be found in great locations? Including the colourful moving art cows scattered all around this great city. But it's also a place where great sports come to play. And those who enjoy the lifestyle so much decide to stay. It's a place of happy families and smiling faces, so it must be a great place to be. See, that's the thing about Shepparton. It's not just one, but many great things.
Well, welcome back to the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour event here in Shepparton, Victoria. What a beautiful place. Thank you so much, Shepparton, for having us. It's so great to be here. The second time we've had the World Tour of Beach Volleyball here. And we've got our friend Steve Hart down on court, and he has a special guest.
Well, thank you very much, Kerry. I do indeed. It is the President of Volleyball Australia, Craig Carraher, who's responsible for turning on all this great weather and the beach volleyball. Craig, you've got to be pleased with this event.
Yeah, I'll claim credit for that. It's been amazing. Shepparton's a beautiful place. They've put on a show for us. A great atmosphere down here. Bringing the beach to the bush and doing it right here in sunny Shepparton. I mean, what a spectacle, and I think the athletes are responding.
What a great line, bringing the beach to the bush. And also, of course, the big thing to come out of this tournament is the performance of those emerging nations in the Oceania region, of course, like Fiji, Vanuatu. They have been outstanding, and Volleyball Australia needs to take a bit of credit for that.
Well, we'd love to, but the athletes take all the credit and they've done the work. And what we need to remember is the Pacific Islands, they've got enormous distances to travel. They've got issues with visas to even get into Australia. So it's very tough for them. Long distances, a huge expense, getting the coaching support. But we've got Vanuatu, we've got Fiji, we've got New Zealand and Australia. And guess what? They're all here and they're all going to the Commonwealth Games as well. So 4 of the 12 countries going to the Commonwealth Games are from Oceania. And I think that's outstanding.
Talk about the Commonwealth Games. So we're not far away now. It's getting realistic. April on the Gold Coast. How excited are you as a big fan and not only a fan, but of course the President of Volleyball Australia? You must be pumped.
Well, I'm conflicted because we have 4 nations from Oceania competing, and I have the role of running Oceania volleyball as well, and Australian volleyball. On the home soil, I'm going for the Aussie boys and girls, of course, but I'm really hopeful the Oceania teams do excitingly well, that they stimulate Oceania volleyball. The brand of volleyball we play down here in the islands, in the Pacific, is different to what's being played in Europe. And I think when the Commonwealth nations see that, they'll get excited too. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
And of course, we're looking forward to seeing 2 Australian men's teams still to come in the bronze medal and the gold medal. You've got Zach Schubert and, of course, Kyle Durant coming up shortly. Chris McHugh and Damien Schumann, most likely the men's Commonwealth Games team. The women's we still don't know. I mean, it's all up in the air.
It is. Really, we don't know. There's still a long way to go between now and April, and this is sport. If it was easy, it wouldn't be sport. It would be predictable. So it's a very, very exciting time, and let's hope the Aussies do well.
It's an exciting time for the sport. Thank you, Craig. Craig Carraher, the President of Volleyball Australia. Back to you, Kerry.
Great to hear from Craig Carraher. Such a big fan of the sport, but such a hard worker, invests a lot of his time and energy into, in an unpaid position as the President of Volleyball Australia, and really helps run this sport. He's been a fantastic leader for this sport, and he's brought some great supporters such as Gina Reinhard, her foundation, the Hancock Foundation. So, it's really amazing to have all supporters here at Shepparton, and the crowd is starting to fill the seats, and I must say it is very hot down there, so good to see those people sitting in the hot, dry seats, really watching the athleticism of these players. So now as we warm up, the players, the Germans, there you can see Kulzer and his partner Dollinger from Germany in the black, shaking hands now. The coin toss, Zach Schubert doing the coin toss, his partner Cole Durant from Australia in the green. The referee will toss the coin. The players get to choose whether they serve, receive, which side of the court. So if there's a little bit of an advantage, they'll choose the side with the advantage, and the advantage is always to play into the wind. So we'll see who decides to do what. And the advantage on serve and receive is always to receive. So it's a much easier proposition to receive the ball to make the first point rather than to serve and play defence. So that's the theory behind it. Some teams change it up a little bit. Most teams stick with those decisions. And then the players, of course, will change ends as well every 7 points. So the weather now really heating up. Beautiful and sunny. No clouds around, which sometimes is a little bit, it looks good for the pictures. It's a little bit harder for the athletes. 28 degrees. It feels like probably 38 for the athletes down there. Not a lot of breeze on the court. Quite a moderate type of wind and a little bit of humidity, not much at all. So quite a dry heat here in Shepparton. So we really experience all sorts of weather conditions all over the world, but these are absolutely perfect right now. And these boys, as just before with the women's bronze medal match, these boys both coming off losses. So they've had a couple of hours now, not long, to refuel, to rehydrate and to refocus. Try and get their positive vibes going again, get their mojo back after a loss and come out and take the bronze medal. And certainly know how that feels. It's a really difficult thing to do overnight, let alone within a couple of hours. So be really kudos to whoever takes it and wins through this. This is going to be a really tough match for both teams. And there's Zach Schubert's girlfriend in the Aussie top there. We won't call her out. She can watch this in replay. So it's great to have the families of the players here, of course, as well. This is a World Tour event, and a lot of these players getting experience in the World Tour event. Their very first World Tour event. And some of the Aussie contingent, it was in fact their first World Tour, and some of them made it almost through to the semi-finals. Just got pipped out. But the Germans, of course, have come a long way, and they've been looking to dominate this match. We'll just see how they go. So Steve Hart back in commentary with me. Steve, that was interesting. What happened with the Italian girls?
Yeah, look, it was really tough. Both girls have had a tough match. One doesn't speak too much English, and the other one, she has lost her voice as a result of, well, it's been over a couple of days. She couldn't even talk. So
wow.
They were unable to do the interview. They wanted to because they were overjoyed the fact that they'd won, but they actually did look completely drained as well. They'd given that match everything they had, as we saw from the Kiwi girls. Well, they were disappointed at the loss, but they're still very happy about the opportunities that lay ahead with them in the Commonwealth Games. And the corporates all in here, and they've got the nice comfortable position, nicely catered for. Look at them chopping away on the fruit platters and the drinks, and that is a nice place to be able to watch what is going on. It is certainly a wonderful, wonderful day, and people have bought their tickets and they've come in to watch Australia play. It is the Aussies up shortly. It's Cole Durant and Zachary Schubert up against Armin Dollinger and Simon Kulzer. And from Germany, I know you were talking about it moments ago, a bronze medal match. The downer about that is always that both sides are in the same boat. They've just lost their semi-final and they've got to come here and try and pick themselves up. You'd think that would be easier for the Australians in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I'm just wondering if the Australians kind of really felt that that was such a loss. You know, they were playing so well yesterday and they really didn't play as well this morning. But maybe, again, you know, it could have been a lesson, and maybe they'll fight back, bounce back here, and with a bit more zest and, you know, perhaps a little bit more confidence, not as many nerves. You know, they had their semi-final. Often the semis are sometimes more nervous than playing for the medals. So both teams, nothing to lose. They've had a loss. They can just come out here, play freely. You can imagine the Germans are going to bring some pretty good experience into this match.
So the men's bronze medal match at this FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour. Australia represented by Cole Durant and Zachary Schubert. Germany by Armin Dollinger and Simon Kulzer. These teams have already met in this tournament a couple of days ago in the pool rounds, and on that occasion the Australians had a pretty good win, 21-14 and 21-13.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? So they met earlier and, you know, one really dominated, the Germans really dominated the Aussies, but since then the Germans, you know, they've also lost. The Aussies have lost to a team that may be better than the Germans, so, you know, it's kind of up and down. So it's going to be a very even battle. And it's going to be see who can hold their nerves.
There's our officials. Referees Apanisa Sakuru from Fiji, Jamie Salvin from Scotland will be your referees in this particular match. It's the bronze medal match, Australia up against Germany, and conditions, I can tell you from just being out there on the sand, it's warm.
Is it warm? Yeah, it's very difficult when we're watching it on the screen, on TV, and to really feel how hot it is out there. You can often see the players, they're glistening and sweating and, you know, adding the ice and keeping the wet towels around their neck perhaps. And they stay under shade as much as they can. They are slathered in sunscreen. But there are our Australian boys looking focused, perhaps not as nervous as earlier on, making sure they're very, very well hydrated. I remember my first beach volleyball match and I cramped, I think, every muscle in my entire body. I knew nothing about hydration. I knew nothing about how much the heat takes out of you. I'd come from indoor volleyball, you know, where you sip on a water bottle. It's often cold and you've got long, you know, long sleeves on and high socks, and these players, they're going to feel the heat. So the Germans coming out.
Being introduced to the crowd, it is Dollinger and Kulzer, and giving themselves a little bit of a slap on the palms as Durant and Schubert get set. They'll get a nice little rev up from the crowd here too, who've turned out, and right now their game faces are on. They're not looking overly happy, or there's no emotion there, but they'll be just focusing on getting the job done. Cole Durant gives a little fist pump to the crowd there, and Zach Schubert will be next up. There he goes. Two of those boys had high hopes. They'd come here believing that if they could play their best, they could actually stand on top of the podium. For a long time, they've just sat in the shadow of Chris McHugh and Damien Schumann, and I think they know they're edging close. You know, they've got a bit of training a couple of times to understand, but they haven't been able to quite beat the top men's pairing in competition, and I think they hope that this would be the one.
Well, they've definitely got the goods. They've definitely got all the skill. It's just the consistency. It's just handling those, you know, those emotions at times. Great serve from Zach to start it off, and just coming out and being free and flowing and playing their game. And they've got a very different game to the Germans. It's a big power game.
Well, they'll also be feeling confident. We've mentioned it already, but they had a very solid 2-0 win over this team in the pool game just a couple of days ago. 21-14, 21-13. They did it comfortably, and that will certainly make them feel they've got the odds of the number on this team today.
Well, they've started out with two big serves to Kulzner, digging him quite easily. Zach Schubert, can he finish it off? This time he's dug. And he had to stay at the net and block. So Germany get that one back. I can tell you straight away that Cole and Zach are looking a little bit more relaxed than they were in their semi. So relaxed as in they're not so anxious.
Some work at the net, both sides. Not giving an inch at the moment. 2-1 Australia. A nice little early lead for Germany.
Oh, big swing off the big block of Cole Durant. Or was that Zach Schubert? Zach Schubert's blocking at the net there. Asking for something. He's complaining a little bit about the setting hands of the Germans. Not happy with that. Perhaps saying that, wouldn't you call that a lift or a double? Can just remind the referee, but you've got to be very careful, otherwise you could get a yellow card if you yell out. But being very polite so far. Big swing, Zach Schubert through the middle. Trademark Schubert. He's got so much power. He's like a whippet. He's just got those fast arms. He uses his abs. He's got such a great spiking action. And he gets up really high out of the sand.
both of these men. We talked about a little bit earlier about those combinations, perhaps one taller, one shorter, both of very similar height, and Zach Schubert and Cole Durant. And Kerry, what sort of roles, what are their strengths, and how do they complement each other?
Well, Cole Durant at the net right now, he's the main blocker of the two. They will switch it up occasionally, but Cole will be the better blocker. And
there it is.
Zach is possibly...
That's what he does.
One of the better spikers out there, but, you know, they all pretty well match up against each other. But Zach is so dynamic. It's a real pleasure to watch him hit the ball.
Partnerships are also important. These boys seem to get along very well. And, of course, they're based in Sassy and Adelaide. But every time we've done any interviews or seen them in their company, they really seem to enjoy each other's company. And, well, Kerry, just how important is that?
Extremely important. We've said it before that this is it's a game of individuals. If you're getting picked on, served every single ball, you've got to hold your own focus, but it's also a very good team sport. And, you've got to be connected with your partner. You've got to be there to cheer your partner on, support your partner when they need it. Sometimes be a psychologist for your partner. Be a husband or a wife for your partner, brother or sister. Like, you just have to pretty much do everything. And I used to joke and say it's almost like being married to someone that you wouldn't ever want to be married to, but you almost have to act and treat the relationship in that manner because you mean so much to each other because there's no substitutes.
And I wonder, when you think about those sort of partnerships, and as you mentioned, if you're at that elite level and it's big performance, I mean, what happens when those relationships go a little sour? It's difficult.
It can be very ugly. The game just falls apart. There's no communication. It's not pretty to watch. So a lot of teams do a lot of work on their communication with each other and coming together in between points. You see each other. You see them slap hands, slap themselves on their butts occasionally. It's all done in kind of camaraderie and teamwork.
And there's that teamwork between those two. It is nicely coming together at the moment. Cole Durant sets it up for Zach Schubert and does what he does, just puts it away for a 7-4 lead in this first set. Durant, there he goes. Schubert. And that's what we expect from those two boys.
Oh, nicely taken off the block there. Pilsner really just having to turn it and wipe it off Durant's hands. If he can't get it past, he has to wipe it off.
You're watching the bronze medal match between the men from Australia and Germany.
And that's trademark Schubert and Durant right there. So the difficult thing for the German team right now is to work out who's going to hit the ball. So if they get a good pass up like this, it could be set back or it could be hit like Cole Durant just hit it there. So you can hit it with speed, you can hit it with an off-pace slice, and it's very difficult to work out how to block it and how to defend it. And that is their game, and that's what was missing this morning in the semi-final. Those little touches on the ball, they were just a little bit off. They couldn't get it together, but it looks like right now they're a lot smoother, a lot more relaxed with it. And Pilsner doing the work right there for Germany. So far being served almost 100% of the ball, so really having to work hard. Dolzinger working hard at the net.
Schubert sets it for Durant, and Durant puts it away this time. They swap roles just for that particular play, and they have no trouble interchanging.
Yeah, and it makes it hard not just to work out who's going to hit the ball, but all the different intricacies if, the left side player hits that second play or the right side player, and what are they most likely to do. So you have to have almost a double amount of strategies on how to defend that. So it's really tricky, it's difficult. It can fall apart pretty easily if you're not on your game, but right now Cole and Zach look like they're very much on their game. Germany finding it hard to defend them. And they'll have to do something special to really rattle the Aussies.
Thought they might have got a touch on the Australians, the Germans. And it doesn't certainly look like it got anywhere near it. And the ball too long. Straight away goes to the official, but doesn't get too much interest. And now the Germans. Rukultsa too long again. Another point to the Australians. They edged out to a 5-point lead in this first set of the bronze medal match. Gold medal match is still to come. It's USA versus USA in the women's, and it'll be Australia versus USA. So plenty of representation from the red, white and blues.
It is. And the USA and Brazilians, they are the best two nations in the world, or there have been in the past. We're getting a lot of countries actually coming through and grabbing those medals off them as well in the World Tour. You know, bits and pieces here and there, but generally history shows USA, Brazil, two of the best nations, and Germany, in fact, is now won a men's gold medal at the Olympics, a women's gold medal at the Olympics. So these guys have got some good role models.
So the court volunteers just doing a bit of a rake job there on the sand, smooth things out a little bit, and we see the sand. Well, you won't tell it on the television, but it can get very hot out there with the sun. They water it down a little bit between the matches. What's the rules on that, Kerry? Is there any particular rules on watering it down?
I think it's just a good thing to do. I think there probably is in the rule book from the FIVB, I don't know, I've read it, that the sand needs to be a certain temperature, but it really is player comfort. I mean, if the sand's so hot the players can't walk on it, it's just ridiculous. So it is about player comfort, and it's a bit drier out here, and if we don't water it down, it'll start to get a bit cloudy with sand dust. You don't want to see that either. That's a bit difficult. This time,
Durant retreats that time. You could read they were coming for the big play. Got himself back from the net, but he couldn't do much about it. There was too much on it.
So Kulsner had a little bit of a timeout there. Got his act together and was able to bury that ball down the middle. Wow, the Aussies, they're just on point with all their trickery. Their back plays, their fast front plays, their second balls. And Cole Durant, he just loves it afterwards. You can see the pleasure in his face. But that was like an indoor play. We call that a slide, a 1 foot takeoff. You don't see that very often on the beach. But hey, why not? If you've got the skill, as long as you can keep it together.
Oh, nice work there from Schubert. He dominates at the net, just owns it on that occasion. A little hug, a little embrace between the two. And they probably were, well, look, they're really enjoying themselves now and probably wondering where this was yesterday in that semi-final. It was a tough loss. As I mentioned earlier, they really had high hopes of taking this out and being on top of the podium. But they can still get themselves on the podium with a good win here.
Well, the sign of a great team is a team that can come back from a loss like that, absolutely. And for these young boys to be able to do that, and I say young, they're in their 20s, but for these young boys to be able to come back, you know, with that sort of mental strength and just bring their game. And, of course, each point that they win, each block that Zach Schubert does, each serve that Cole Durant makes fly all over the place, each defence that they take, that'll give them step-by-step more confidence. So, you know, they're just adding to that right now. They're putting those away in their toolbox, adding to their confidence. Their meters, confidence meter is up high, whereas the Germans, on the other hand, are feeling the pressure. You know, they're like, what can we do? These guys are on point. We watched them in the semi-final. They didn't play like this at all. They're just all over it. So, you know, the Germans may just have to wait this out a little bit and hope that they can get a couple of errors from the Aussies. And if they're going to give it to them, they can't do too much. They have to keep their error count down, the Germans. They have to maybe take a few risks on serve. Be a bit tricky maybe on defence, but right now the Aussies are too good, playing at their top of their game. Cole Durant to serve. And Schubert just takes another block. Makes it look so easy. One of the most difficult things to do in defence is to block out that hard hit. The players have got so much court to hit into. So great reading, great timing by Schubert at the net.
The Germans, they are trying to get themselves back into this one. It goes for the big play, way too long though, and another point to the Aussies, 16-7. This lead getting pretty handy now for the Aussie pairing of Cole Durant with the ball now and Zach Schubert. Looking at the replay, see they work it around, and he just has too much time and too much power on it in the end.
Yeah, really not in his best mindset right now, Kulsner. We talked about that individuality. He's all on it feels like you're all on your own out there. Yes, your partner's there. Yes, your partner's setting you the ball. It's coming at you over and over and over and again. But you really are on your own, in your own head, trying to desperately make a side out and then trying to make a point. And Dolzinger can't even get the point there on the block. Really disappointed. So Dolzinger not able to even help his partner out there. Right now the Australians just turning everything into Aussie gold.
Not much he could do there. It was, well, I don't know how to explain that one. Just a choke.
Pretty much. I think the Germans are really looking to just let this set go, because you do get the best of 3 sets, so they can regroup in the timeout between the sets, but they're not putting a lot of heart into this one. It's just an easy side out for Dolzinger, but I think they know that the writing's on the wall. Pretty hard to come back from this point.
Warner's back to the service line. Simon Kulzer. The blonde German boy gets it away, and the Australians work it around. There's big Zach Schubert. Again, Kulzer. Met at the net by Durant. Once again, Durant. Too good.
Oh, just out. He thought it was in.
It did look like it was just in, but no, it wasn't. And the referee calls it out. Let's have a look. He just responds as Dollinger. Almost reflex on that play, and yeah, it was just out.
And the good thing about playing in the sand is, you know, it's often quite easy to tell whether it's in or out because the ball leaves a mark. And the players can ask the referee, in fact, to come down off the sand and check the ball mark if they really feel that they made a mistake.
Oh, yes. Pumps the fist. Durant. Schubert. That's what we're talking about, they said. And again, the rules is out on the line.
If the ball touches the line, it is in. If the ball mark is just out of the line, but the shadow of the ball is in, it's in. It's a really interesting one.
The shadow of the ball is on the
shadow of the ball, yeah.
So depending on what time of the day you play.
Maybe not that shadow.
It's just a shadow, a piece of the ball. So Cole Durant steps up, 20-10. Chance to take this first set. The Germans, will they just let it go? They compete right to the play, but there it is, the first set to Australia, 21-10. A very convincing opening set. Cole Durant and Zachary Schubert. We'll be back with the second set right after this. So the boys taking a little break after that first set. A good performance from Cole Durant and Zachary Schubert. They have played these Germans a little earlier in this tournament and beat them convincingly then, and it's looking that way at the moment. We see a replay of that final point. The Germans desperate. They try and move around and get into it. Big play at the net, but there's no way over it, and that was the story of that set as Cole Durant and Zach Schubert start to think about a bronze medal.
Well, I would hope they're not, Steve, because if they start thinking about the medal, they're going to stop thinking about the game. So I would hope they feel like it's the beginning of the set and they go all over again.
First set away, the Aussie boys, ladies and gentlemen. Can you clap your hands and make some noise for Germany and your green and gold Volleyball of Australia? Here they come.
Welcome back to Shepparton, Victoria for this FIVB World Tour bronze medal match. If you're just joining us, the situation, Australia in the green, there they are, Zach Schubert and Cole Durant up against the German pairing, and the Australians have taken the first set pretty comfortably, 21-10, and they dominate the opening point of the second.
What a nice way to start the point. It's like, wow, wow, Zach Schubert, where did he come from? He's such a young lad, but gosh, he can jump. Gosh, he's got power in those little legs and those long arms. Really dominating for Australia. And we take it right back, says the Germans. Okay, so it's the beginning of a new set for these guys. They need to shelve every thought, every negativity, every bit of bad play, bad whatever, karma that they had in that first set and start all over again. Let's see if they can do that.
So it's 1-1 in this second set. Germans come forward to the net. Kulzer goes for it. Double hit off there from Schubert at the back.
Yeah, so I think Dollinger got that right in the head. We'll have a look at this. Oh, we didn't see the replay, but Dollinger off the block. Of course, Zach's not allowed to touch that ball twice in a row. So, Germans, they're ahead.
And unfortunately, they go too big. So Durant, he'll go back to the service line to serve at 2-2 in the second set. The Australians lead 1-0 of this bronze medal match. Coming to you live from Shepparton, FIVB World Tour.
Off the top of the block there, called by the linesman. Zach Schubert saying, I didn't touch it. Linesman saw something, so Germany is going to get that point. See if we can see that on the replay. Up high. Almost hard to see, but of course Australia's not going to own up to it.
Well, it's right there, the official. And he's made that call, but they just reply with that sort of play, and it really doesn't matter then, does it?
That's such trademark again. Schubert and Durant. Durant did such a good job then of showing what, that he was going to set it, and then at the last minute hit it. So working well for them in this bronze medal playoff. Nice play. So a little spring in Couls's step now. Siding out much easier in this second set. They've forgotten about the first set. I think they'd like to never see that first set again. Getting a good set from his partner helps.
Showing what they're capable of. Deep in the court. Zach Schubert in the foreground. Cole Durant was in the back. And it is Dollinger to serve for Germany. Schubert sets it for Durant. This goes for the nice touch, and Germany, they can't find anywhere inside that court. And out it goes. Another point to Australia for all in the second set.
Such a big effort from Kulsner there. Digging that line shot. His partner had it open, but he had to twist almost a 360 to keep that in. Great hands over the block. Cole Durant, Zach Schubert, as they move ahead.
Nice work from Schubert, and Durant now to serve at 5-4. Germans desperate to try and stay alive, and they do that with a pretty good play. That was nice cross court and finds inside mark.
So Germany just need to hang in now. They just need to play solid. Hope that they could break that momentum of the Aussies. Nothing really going wrong for the Aussies right now. That's a great dig by Kulsner.
Can he put it away? Joust at the net. Now the Australians are in the box seat. Durant, and he does it nicely.
Just must be really, it just must be really hard. Kulsner is digging balls all over the place, but they just can't make a point. So they're working hard in defence, and they just can't finish it off.
And that would be frustrating. And they find some space this time. That'll make them happier. Work from Armin Dollinger. Wearing the cap. Simon Coulter. No cap. His mum won't be happy.
It's not often we see players wearing no cap or no glasses. We have one of the Americans wearing no sunglasses. Pretty bright out there. I don't know how he does it, but he'll be up in the gold medal match. But he does it. Maybe that's just the way he likes it. But it's interesting in tennis. They're out there all day, every day for many more hours than we are out here, and they don't wear glasses at all. So, it really is a sport thing. But we also wear glasses to stop the sand going into our eyes. So you can imagine playing defense, you get covered in sand, you lift your arms to set or spike, and sand really does fly everywhere. So it's also a protective thing.
Oh, Durant straight at the body of Coulter. There wasn't anything he could do about that. Just singled him out. So this is the best way to get this point. He couldn't even get out of the way of it.
Really making the Germans move on the block too, and just answering with power. He pumps himself up afterwards. Such great teamwork between the Aussie boys right now. And their tactic has changed now. They're trying to get a few points off Dollinger. Not working just yet. They're giving Coulter a little bit of a break. He'll be happy about that. It's not easy passing and hitting every single serve of a game.
Serve too big from the Germans again. They just hand back the advantage to the Australians, who have a 9-7 lead in this bronze medal match. We're coming to you live from Shepparton. It is International Beach Volleyball, the FIVB World Tour event. And it is Germany through Coulter, who almost finds the sand, but the Australians Well, they dig in and make sure that this point stays alive. Coulter again, sets for Dollinger. And he gets a touch, does he? What is the call? Well, the Germans aren't happy with the call, but it goes the Australians' way, and the smiles all round from Cole Durant.
Germans still complaining. They really feel that that was a touch off the block. The referees not happy with the Germans arguing. They can give them a yellow card if they feel that they are not being sportsmanlike, and then the next will be a red. So let's see if we can get a handle on this.
So we'll see where this supposed touch was. Well, it could have been.
It was the touch on the antenna, not the touch on the block. So the ball hit the antenna first, and you saw the linesman in the background, just in that shot there, was waving the flag. So he actually saw it too. So that was a good call. Durant didn't touch it on the block. It touched the antenna, which it's not allowed to before it passed the net or before it hit Cole.
Very high standard of officials here. The whole tournament, they've been impressive, and they continue to make the right calls. You can understand the players might have seen a deflection and thought there was a touch, but the referee's got it right. Now, Coulter sets for Dollinger. That time, they do get the point.
Working so hard that time, Germany, for just 1 point. You know, having to pass set hit 3-4 times in a rally to just get the 1 point. That is hard work, and you can't keep that up. You can't do that for every point. You want to finish it off in the first rally, the first pass set hit.
So the Australians will be hoping to keep that pressure on the Germans, choke them out of this match. Durant sets for Schubert, and he puts it away.
And that's how you want to play a point. Just put it away straight away, and that gives you so much confidence.
And will no doubt flatten the confidence of the opposition.
Absolutely.
See that the block was ineffective, straight through him. And Durant serves it round to about the middle of the court. Coulter, he tries to find some space down that side, but there isn't any there, and out it goes. And another point to the Australians as they just really start to pull this match away.
And Coulter taking a little bit of his own time out there, getting the referee to allow him to just wipe his glasses. That is allowable. If you do it too many times, then the referee might call you for wasting time, but it's a good tactic just to slow it down a little bit.
Durant now Coulter for Dollinger. Dollinger winds up, and this time he smacks it down and finds the inside court there and gives himself a chance and his teammate to stay alive. 9-12, it is the bronze medal match. Australia leading 1-0. But, and they also lead in the second set, 12-9. Earlier, we saw the bronze medal played out between New Zealand and Italy. The Italians taking that one in the women's. A pretty good match, but the Italians just too strong in the end. Got still to come. Gold medal women's match, all USA affair, and the Australians versus the USA in the men's gold medal match. That's still to come.
Exciting stuff here in beautiful Shepparton. Look at that. People out on the lake, they'll be over watching the gold medal match as soon as they've had their paddle.
No doubts.
But Australia dominating right now. These young boys, we're very proud of them. They've done extremely well. Like you said earlier, Steve, they really wanted to win this tournament. And it is great for them to feel that they can win this tournament. You know, they've worked hard. They've played a season together on the World Tour. They've had some good results. They've had some good wins.
I've got no doubt they're not far off. They've certainly got the game to do it. And it's just in those key clutch moments where no doubt a little bit more experience in those moments will certainly serve them well, because one thing's for sure, when they're on, they are wonderful to watch.
Absolutely. So skillful, so aggressive, dominating. You know, they're fun to watch.
Well, that's a key point for me there. They look like they enjoy each other's company, and when they're playing well, they just really sink. And you can feel that as an observer, as a spectator. You can certainly feel it when it's on. And the same with Chris McHugh and Damien Schumann. When they are on, it is just poetry in motion. It was wonderful. And of course, with the women, Taliqua Clancy and Maria Feo Tacho del Solar in recent months.
Yeah, unfortunately, Taliqua Clancy and Maria Feo couldn't make this tournament through injury. They're getting ready for the Com Games. And the selection is still to be made, which teams will represent Australia in the Commonwealth Games in, what, just over a month?
Yes, February 20, the teams will be announced. Many think they know who those teams will be, but it's still to be decided. But the favourites at the moment, Chris McHugh, Damien Schumann, the top men's team, and Taliqua Clancy and Maria Payatacho del Solar in the women's. But really the mystery surrounding that is that Taliqua Clancy has been battling with a foot injury and has been unable to get out into the 2 Commonwealth Games selection events so far. And she'll be racing the clock to try and be available for the final Commonwealth Games selection event, the WA Open, just 2 weeks away.
Absolutely, and she's one of the best players that Australia has produced over the last 10 years, and, you know, we'll definitely be cheering her on, and hopefully she'll be absolutely fine for that. But, you know, it's not a major injury, but it's something that just won't go away. One of those pesky things that can cause a lot of pain, but just won't go away. So good that they've rested her. Another amazing block by Zach Schubert. He's just been dominant at the net. Unbelievable, this young man has just really stepped up, and he's playing at the top of the world. This is a World Tour event, and they are very close to winning the first men's medal, the bronze medal at this FIVB event.
Kulza gets a point back for his side. Long way to go, though, and it's 11-17. Germany trail in this second set. They also trail 1 set to love in this bronze medal match. I'm just thinking about how do we dig ourselves out of this hole?
Yeah, it's a really hard position for them to be in, you know. Enthusiasm, you know that you've got to play right till the end, but when you're that far ahead, when Australia only need 4 rallies, they only need to win 4 rallies to win this bronze medal.
Oh, Durant, the Germans. Now Kulza, what can he do? Find some space, but Durant up to the challenge. Schubert for Durant, and there it is. That is really nice stuff for the Australians.
Absolutely sensational defense by these big guys. You know, they're big guys. They're, you know, 6'3", 6'4", and they're laying down, taking great digs like that, getting themselves up, seeing the court. He saw he was down the line, but he just went short on him because he'd already committed. So Australia now 3 rallies away from winning.
Durant does a mean job at the net that time. He's pretty happy with himself too. Says yes, indeed. Teammate Zach Schubert, the hands clapping.
19-11.
Oh, Kulza just getting a nice little drop over the past the block.
Germany hanging tough, a must-win set for them. If Australia win this set, the bronze medal is theirs.
Not sure whether they've got enough here to fight back. Australia need 2 more rallies. Take out this bronze medal. What can Dollinger do? Some pressure on with the serve, perhaps. Yep, that's a great serve. Pressure on is on Australia. Dollinger has a chance. And Schubert and Durant, they are not going to let anything go. This is their match point, their first match point. Haven't they played such an amazing match so far? So solid. 1 rally away from a bronze medal. Ooh, the timing on that block a little bit early allowed Dollinger to just tip it over. Hanging in there, the Germans. Australia looking focused. And there it is, a service error gives the bronze medal to Australia. Cole Durant, Zachary Schubert win Australia's first bronze medal here in Shepparton, FIVB World Tour against Germany. Dollinger and Kulza. What a match. Germany just didn't get a let in at all. Australia too good, so consistent, so dominant. The boys are going to be a mixture of relief, a mixture of happiness that they were able to bounce back so well after this morning's semi-final loss where they really didn't play their best. They looked nervous, they looked anxious in that semi-final. Whatever they did in between, let's find out shortly from Steve, but whatever they did in between, they did well. And the Germans, well, thank you for coming. We applaud you. We welcome you again next year. That man right there on screen, Kulza, played an incredible match. His partner, Dollinger, big at the net, but just didn't have enough gas in the tank to beat the Aussies. Nice smile. Good to see they're still smiling. So let's get down to Steve Hart now with the winners, with the bronze medalists from Australia.
I certainly do, Kerry. Thank you very much. Great performance, boys. I know you wanted gold medal, but bronze medal, a terrific and very dominant performance in front of a home crowd. You've got to be happy.
Oh, we're super happy. We didn't play the way we wanted to this morning, and we had a great opportunity to respond this afternoon, and we did that. It's great.
Cole, you at the net, just phenomenal. I mean, it was great to watch.
It's both of us. Like Zach said, we were a little bit disappointed. We got a bit tense and just happy to let it all go and just said stuff it. We're going to be ultra aggressive. We're going to be in their face. We're going to be cheering. And they just couldn't match it, to be honest.
Awesome.
What we watch and see from you guys, you just seem to get along so well as well. I mean, is that the case? You're good mates?
Oh, yeah, we're best mates. Like, we're brothers, literally, and that's the way that we want this team to work, and that's the way we get over a lot of the hurdles with beach volleyball, and it's just the way we do it, so...
No doubt people watching you guys perform, you're just getting better and better. You know, these top prizes are not far away. It's just those little things in those experience moments.
Yeah. Like what I think the saying that we're going is success is going failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And so we're going to keep pushing, keep being hungry, keep chasing it, and it's going to come.
All right, boys, congratulations. A bronze medal. That is Cole Durant and Zach Schubert doing Australia proud right here at Shepparton. Back to you, Kerry.
Wow, how impressive. What a mature couple of boys. Absolutely role models for the rest of Australian beach volleyball players. Let's just check out the highlights of today's bronze medal match. Germany really working hard, but Australia just had every answer. They just kept the ball going. Dollinger was big at the net, over the top that time. Some of the power from Zach Schubert, though, unbelievable. For such a young guy. Got a very experienced, very mature head on him. Both players, I love their key to success. We thought stuff it. Well, you know, sometimes it's just got to be that simple. Just clear it out and let go. You know, not think about it too much. Do what they do. And they've got such an interesting game. Both players very similar skilled, so they can both do everything. They can both block, they can both play defense. They both have great setting hands. They set their partners extremely well. Jump setting and really good power. Both have great angles. Unfortunately, nothing was going Germany's way. So there you have it, the bronze medalists, the first men's medal given out today. Coming up soon, we're going to take you to the women's gold medal match. Thank you for hanging around. We'll be back shortly.